Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode here on the Hermitpack modded Minecraft 1.10 server. And behind me, the slime apocalypse is happening. If you didn't see our last episode, we discovered this void world when we were looking for a place for hermit games. And I decided I would leave this world alone actually, because I want to mess about with these slime island, this slime farm right here, right? Messing about is certainly what I've done with it. Now, you can see that it is very laggy and very stuttery here. The server seems to be fine. We're getting 20 ticks per second, but I think all of the amount of these slimes in this small area is making my game lag a little bit because they move around ever so stuttery. It's quite something to watch. And I've been messing about over here for quite a while. I've seen spiders spawn over here as well as slimes, and believe it or not, endermites can spawn in this area, which is real strange. And down below here you can see that slimes are spawning on this bottom level. That's why I've started recording. I think I've seen a few slimes spawn over there as well. You see, what I did is I trimmed away this third block of height over on this side, and then they started spawning down here. But now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure I've seen some spawn over there. So for a while I saw absolutely nothing spawning down here. So 2 or 3 blocks between each platform is what's required if we're going to make platforms, because we want to turn this into a farm. And I've been thinking about the ways that we can do this, you know, full damage, cactus, but all of it is just a little bit bland and easy. And there's some blocks in this game where you can set up a region that will damage mobs that go inside of it, and that's just all too easy. So I think we need to find a challenge here, a way to make this more interesting and kill these slimes quickly, but with something a little bit unconventional. Alright, so we've got the means to teleport over here conveniently, and I've tried to get our wireless storage over here. This is just a game of chance, it feels like. You put this down sometimes, it might work, it might not. Today it's just not working, which really sucks, because I have to go back and forth to get my items. But something that I've made is the aversion obelisk, and I've also got a soul vial here. So if we go and grab a slime, let's grab a big one. It might actually stop the big ones from spawning, and the range is 64 blocks. That might not be far enough. We can also put a capacitor in this to upgrade the range as well. Something we learned, I think, last time, actually, last video we did. So that should stop blue slimes spawning over here. If it's just the big ones, that might be something we could use to our advantage. We could design which ones we actually want to spawn in here, if you know what I mean. I'm going to upgrade that thing first of all, though, because I don't think the range is going to be big enough. Well, it appears to do all of the slimes. Or does it? Because there's no spiders there as well. But then again, it's daytime, and they spawn at night. So with that range increase, we stopped them all spawning. I didn't do the bottom floor, by the way, so seeing one down here is no surprise. So it isn't for the type that you pick up, it's going to be all slimes, even though it has an MBT tag. Is there a way to make it more specific, like it will look for the same MBT tag? Doesn't appear to be so, does it? Also, we can see the range. So 160 blocks, you can kind of see a little bit of where the corner of that area is over there. It's flying this direction. I mean, it well and truly covers that, which is cool. And bam, there it is, the range right there. So we got an on-off switch for our slime spawning, which is going to help me work on this thing, because there were loads of them crawling over it while I was trying to dig it out. And also, I've made it a magma block as a reminder to try this later on. Remember, we got loads of tools available to us, so we can build some platforms, and then we can swap the blocks over for something different, and find out if ones like that, well, first of all, that they'll spawn on different blocks, and second, that they'll take damage, and if that will be useful. Here's a cool little change in the pack that I like. Buckets will stack up to 64, which is awesome. We can come in here and remove all of this stuff, yet keep it as well. I don't know how much is in there. It looks like there might not even be as much as 64 in total. I've noticed something very strange about how this behaves, though. The water doesn't sort of unflow when you remove all of the source blocks. Evidence of was down here. Maybe that was actually a little bit of a bug. So when I was digging out the floor, the water was coming down, and there's some endermites that have spawned. I told you they could spawn on here. And yeah, basically the flowing part of the water would stay where it was, and some of it flew all the way down there and just stayed there for ages. Apparently that was a bug. Maybe it's fixed by like logging in and logging out. So we're throwing buckets on the ground at the moment, which is fine. Don't worry about that, because we've got our little enderlink bag. Of course, we can't use the what you call it over there at the moment because it ain't working, and I haven't bothered to try and get it to work because I don't know what to do. So I think it might just be that this stuff removes very, very slowly, because that seems to be what it's doing right now. It's taken an age to clear out, and we've got our first floor ready, although we need to put down some more grass so it can spread. And I got a little something from somewhere, I'm not really sure, these sort of popped into my inventory. It says, for your troubles, open this present for a chance to receive some. And I don't know what that is. Something about open computers there as well. What happened? What did oh, I got a thing, a network card. This is just something for the mod, isn't it? This isn't even, yeah, this isn't even interesting. So the only place I've seen slime spawn on the top is in this little, wow, that was kind of close to where the magma blocks are, wasn't it? Maybe I need to do a little bit more observing. Although to be fair, everything is spawning on the bottom, and like I said, only near to the magma, like in this area. I'll watch it a little bit longer. I know what we're going to use. Can you guess? There's a hint in my hotbar. Let's get a few more slimes on there. That's probably too many already. Too many already. Just a couple will be fine. Iron golems. Something very vanilla. There's all these things in mods that you can use. But I would like... Oh, jeez. You're coming too close to where I'm building. Please give me some space. I can't place it quick enough, people. Let's try again. Over here. That looks good enough. Yeah, let's use an iron golem. Because this guy is going to attack the slimes. They're also going to attack him back, which means we need to use the mods to protect this guy, right? And we're not going to use just one. In fact, we're going to use all sorts of things here. The problem is this guy is probably not going to kill them very quickly, but that's not going to be a massive issue, right? Because there'll be a mob cap in the area, so they'll just keep coming to him. Once he kills them, more will be able to spawn. And like I said, not going to use just one. We can put a few in the area, and we'll use some modded stuff to keep them alive as they can take damage. And I had one other thought, which is, can we use slime conveyors in this farm to get them to the iron golems nice and quickly? And if we are going to do that, are they able to spawn on here? Because this might be like a pressure plate. Like it might be, if you look at the shape of it, that the mob can actually spawn in there with no issue. Now the mod author said that they might be updating this so that they act like carpets, like they take up a whole block when they're on top of it, which I think would then rule that out. But we'll see what we can do with it for now, because if they do spawn on here, we can cover this with a ton of these, run them straight into the iron golems, and then they'll kill them automatically. Here is another cool effect of having these. They get thrown right off the platform, and that's kind of amazing. What it looks like they're doing is they're seeing the iron golem immediately, and the iron golems seem to be looking down at the platform below, and so they head in that direction over to where the conveyors are. Not seeing anything spawn on the conveyor, so we just saw something spawn there and there. Let's keep moving around. I could probably do with moving the bottom floor as well. Yeah, they're always just spawning on the other side, aren't they? Okay, I'm going to move the platform down below just so we can make sure on what we're seeing. Yep, I'm telling you, mobs won't spawn on them. But I'm thinking maybe what we can do is have them in rows with gaps in between, so there's plenty of space for the slimes to spawn, and then they can start getting that momentum that hurtles them across, so they should move through the other areas, and then they should also be attracted to where the iron golem is. Now when it comes to the other mobs, it doesn't look like spiders are particularly interested in this guy, does it? And that's something that we need to find out. Well, don't come after me. Jeez. Right, let's put these in over here. Bam. And spiders, you interested in this guy or are you interested in me? Let's move over to that side. No, they are interested in the iron golem as well. Okay, that's excellent. And he's probably going to go off the edge before long. Oh. Alright, so here we go. Did you see that spider? What a perfect test. It took damage as it came over. Just another little way to give them some more damage. Was that guy one hit kill? That might be thanks to the magma blocks as well. So that's great that they all do damage to them. So in between the spaces that they spawn, where we move them across, we can put magma blocks as well. And that means they just take extra damage. So look at the way it moves. It gets going so quickly. I'm just wondering what's the optimal way to space these out. Basically, we're going to have to rip out this platform and then just do some tests. So the only place that mobs are spawning is where the iron golem is. They can spawn at the moment. If you look in the bottom left, you'll see that this thing is off. And whoa! I had not seen that happen yet. However, the rates seem to be very slow. I had a theory here. Oh, there goes our iron golem. I had a theory that it was seeing these as if they were blocks. So this was a 2x2 space with no extra space around it. and that's why they could spawn on this. I mean, technically it's a little bit bigger, but if it were 2 by 2, there's space around it for something bigger to spawn in. But this time we're actually seeing some spawns there, and that worked extremely well. I think what we might want to do, though, is change that to a 3 by 3 pad, or maybe the thing needs to be bigger in general. I think what I'll do is I'll build a 3 by 3 version of this just below it. But what we got here is simply little 2 by 2 pads, and the idea was whatever direction they chose to move in, they'd find themselves on one of these conveyors, and when you're standing in between them like this, you're basically walking along them the whole way. Right, as you saw there, and if you just stand in the middle on this side, then you will still go all the way across as well, which is pretty awesome. I love this farm, it's amazing, just standing back here watching all of those silly little slimes get thrown off. I've noticed that endermites, when they do spawn, seem to resist the power of the slime conveyor. Looks like someone had a bad day over there. I haven't actually seen them slide across and then split up when they're on the magma cubes, which is something I really want to catch in action. Anyway, what we're going to do right now is some building to surround our 3 platforms, which I might expand, but I can't help but this is going to be really good. So here's what I want to do. Just put in some basic iron trim going alongside like this. That'll go all the way around. At this side, though, it will go... Do you know what? That's not quite as nice as I thought it would. Do you know what one will look a lot better? This one. It's one that we use quite frequently, but that's because it's a great texture. That's going to look so much nicer, isn't it? Yeah. And then we'll come out by 2 blocks and then go like this. I might change this to 3 later on. I've got to watch how they behave. So I'm going to put glass around this as well, which means I could do with my builder's wands, and we are certainly running out of space in our inventory. But the other thing that I've crafted is loads of cyan glass, and I've got a lot of this stuff, and the choices we have are kind of interesting. I might go with that one, but I'm very much drawn to these ones here. So that one does not group up, nor does that. This one doesn't as well, but they don't join. And then we've got that. Maybe I'll go with that one. Okay, let's give it a try. Let's see what it looks like. So place down a few, start using the builder's wands, and you get a rough idea. That's actually pretty good. I think that'll do just fine. Alright, as I placed that strip of iron blocks on the top, I thought, mobs can spawn on that. Oh, look at that. Okay, yep, they get stuck. Why didn't I step back and check that? I got so in the zone with building, I forgot to check it. I deliberately built this side first so we could do something like that, and then I forgot about it. Typical Asuma. Alright, we just got a skeleton. I've actually seen 1 or 2 of those spawn before, so I guess he has to move. Oh look, we've got a creeper up on the iron blocks, like I suspected. Anyway, taking a step back, where are the slimes? There they are. And that way they go down the gap, nice and easy. Skeletons getting moved along as well, so when regular mobs spawn in there, they might get caught up for a while. But then a slime might come from behind and knock it along, so that's cool. Alright, we got some slimes in here already, and if I take a step back, it's going to get noisy in there. Let's get a few more down there, come on. Excellent. Now they're going to take damage when they fall in, which is something I hadn't thought of. So some of the big ones might split if they fall from the top. That's fine. And in here what we're going to do is buff up our iron golems. So we've got an environmental controller. It's been configured to look for height 93 to 95 and a radius of 10. Now if that radius is from here out to the edge, it will cover it. If it's like all the way across, then it won't. So I need to make it a little bit bigger. But that should, in theory, if I've got it right, cover all of this area. So another block we'll put over here is a vacuum hopper or 2 to suck up the items automatically. But when we drop in our iron golems, we're going to need to give this thing some upgrades. So first of all, we want to give it regeneration. And ironically, what you use is syringes on iron golems to make all of this. So that's nice and easy to do, right? Now I was hoping that there would be strength in here, but really that's the only one we're going to use. We could possibly do speed, but I think you need to go for a bat. Oh no, it's a horse, that one. Okay, well that might not be so difficult. And as well as that, there is also some negative effects which we could apply to the mobs inside of there. So poison module and possibly slowness module might help a little bit. This one requires a cave spider. Obviously we're going to a mine shaft. That one actually only needs a clock, so we could also put that in there as well, and that would help. That is causing a problem at the moment. We need to do something about that. But first of all, let's look in the environmental controller, because I believe what you can do is put in different things and then configure them to affect players or to affect mobs, and that can be passive or hostile. So the slimes are going to be hostile, and then the iron golems will be passive, which means we can target them with different effects. I'm wondering if this is going to make this guy angry. In theory it shouldn't, because ones that you create don't get angry at you, but if they've been generated by the game due to villagers, then it should do. Do I right click? Is that doing it? Is it working? Maybe we left click with it. There we go, so he takes damage, and yes, he doesn't try to attack me. What is that? That is making a lot of noise. Shall I tell you what I've been doing? I've been hunting for bats, and I thought I'd be smart, and I'd use night vision. I'd go underground, I'd put on the sound locator. I think we found a bug. I'm scared to break it. Did it? No, it didn't just stop. I can still hear it. Okay, let's break this block. That is really, really odd. I'll tell you what, the server has issues a lot of the time with TPS going down. I wonder if it has anything to do with that. Mysterious noises at spawn. Aren't you glad that I turned the volume down? We can see all the noise that this would be generating, and we've got a few iron golems in here. It appears to be working. I've been watching their health go up and down because they are getting attacked and then regenerated. As you can see right there, it's sort of fluctuating between 26 and showing us the individual hearts. I don't think it's going to be fast enough though, because there's a heck of a lot of them here, and I guess what will probably happen from time to time is the iron golems are going to target one they can't quite reach, and that slows them down. But at the moment I think there's only 6 of them there in total, so maybe if we beef this up it'll work a little bit faster, and once they get on top of these guys hopefully the lag will slow down a bit as well. I've just noticed in the top left of my screen we can see the regeneration effect, which is really strange because this is set to passive mobs. Maybe that means as well as the player, and I believe this is for every single effect, as I tried putting in poison, which we will do for a second. Yep, I just got poison, so it targets everything. You can't configure them individually. So if we want to have poison as well for the slimes, we're going to need a second environmental controller. So I feel like we've lost an iron golem or two, and right now the server is desperately in need of a restart. Check out what this place looks like when you put on the night vision. Crazy stuff. Orange, red and yellow, looking very cool. So if we take a step back, we should clearly see what's going on in the farm. Those slimes are going to whiz out over to the side. There they go. And now the iron golems are going to do their thing. But it's not very fast, is it? It's kind of slow. And I would expect to see more slimes spawning than that as well. And I'm not sure what is slowing it down. It may be that there are other players on the server, so there can't be as many spawns over here. But I don't think that this method is fast enough, and we may have to go in search of a different method to make this work. So back at our base, I tried setting up a little farm last episode that didn't work. The reason our mechanical user didn't work is because we are inside of a claimed chunk. If you look over here, we're in the corner of one, so it meant that the mechanical user couldn't interact with anything. So I swapped it over to a dispenser. There's a little bit of redstone paste back there that you can barely see, and we're using a sequencer here. This is a rather big pulse and then a rather big gap. You could probably operate it on less, but I was really surprised at how fast this runs. I think each thing is a single tick because it can really go fast, but that right there is just fine. So when it needs more of these in the system, when there's less than this amount, it activates it, this thing picks it up and imports it to the chest over there. So this will probably end up being the shortest episode that we do in this series. It has been a day of TPS problems, restarts and general sluggishness trying to get going on here, and at the moment I am running out of time and scratching my head about those iron golems. Maybe they were not the best way to go about doing this, so I've been thinking, well, what else is there in the mods? And the problem is, you know, if you go to a wiki and read through it, it can take a very long time to even find something that might be useful and relevant. So I thought I'd put it over to you guys to suggest to me some ideas that you had for how we should kill these slimes, and try and be creative. I want to come up with something that isn't just, you know, use a powerful block that kills them automatically. Something fun and interesting that we can have a go at. So leave a comment down below with a suggestion if you got one. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. As always, thank you for support, and I'll see you in the next episode. Ciao for now. Bye bye.